So guys, here we have seen about the page fault as well as the errors that we can encounter in phase 2. Now let's go through the notations actually that are going to be used in our phases, our phase 2 particularly. So we have seen that there are 7 types of errors, right? Means 6 types of errors and one state where no error exists, right? So there are different target values that represent different kind of error. So if 0 is there, then there is no error. If 1 is there, out of data error exists. For 2, line limit error. For 3, time limit error. For 4, opcode error. For 5, it's operand error. For 6, we have page fault, and that too as invalid page fault. Always remember this. And at last, at 7, the state no, actually 0 to 6 is the notation value that we have for particular exception. Later we have specific types of interrupts. So if you are asked about what is interrupt, so interrupt nothing is nothing but a system call that is made by an operating system to execute a particular functionality, right? It allows us to access the hardware or software or the resources that are that are to be executed or accessed for execution, right? So in interrupts we have SI interrupt, that is system interrupt, which can have three values, 1, 2 and 3, where value 1 indicates get data, value 2 indicates put data, and value 3 indicates the value as halt, right? These are this is system interrupt. But we also have time interrupt, where time interrupt, we know that we have seen time limit exceeded error. So if time limit exceeded error occurs, so time interrupts value would become 2, and by default its value is 0. But you must be wondering, when does it become 1? So it becomes 1 in our phase 3. So we would see it further. And apart from this, we have program interrupt. In that case, we can have values as 1, 2 and 3, where value 1 would have opcode error, value 2 would have operand error, value 3 would have page fault error, right? And when does this page fault error occur? Page fault is the most important error that you have to consider in program interrupt, because page fault would be occurring very frequently. And page fault would be occurring whenever get data instruction is executed, and the get data instruction gives us empty page or empty page table. Means whatever we are trying to access, it does not exist at that particular position, and this is known as a valid page fault. And when does the valid page fault occur? When the limit is between 0 to 99. In that case, the valid page fault gets occurred. And apart from this, we have PCB. PCB is very important component of our phase, any of the phases that we are studying, because PCB is the process control block that is used to represent a particular process in a system, where each PCB has its own ID, its own TTL, its own TLL, its TLC, its LLC. So what are we talking about here? So PCB has job ID, the ID of a particular job, total time limit or time to live. If we are considering computer networks, then TTL means time to live. But if we are considering the phases, then it can be also indicating total time limit. Later we have total line limit, to time limit counter and line limit counter. So these two values, means these four values are complementary to each other. If we are talking about total time limit, then the total time limit would be considered with time limit counter. But if we are talking about total line limit, that would be considered with line limit counter. And ID is used to represent each and every job that exists in our system. Specifically for unique representation, we use ID, right? So this is something that you should know regarding the notations of our phase 2 operating system.